Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today's project is we're going to be replacing this door right here with a new one. Now, we did get a pre-hung door, so which means pre-hung means it comes with the casing as well. It comes with the casing and it comes with the brick mold on the outside. The brick mold is that molding that you see around the outside of the door itself. So we're going to change that all in one shot because, as I said, this is a much older door and it is kind of drafty in the winter time. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this storm door off, and the way we do that is we just unscrew all of the screws along here and down on the lock that holds the door open, and we're going to remove it and we'll set that aside. Hopefully we can reuse it, but we'll see how that goes. All right, let me bring you in and I'm going to show you how you can tell what size door you need, so that way you don't take the door out only to find out that it won't fit. All right, so let me bring you in there and I'm going to show you how to measure a door. Okay, I know it's going to be a little difficult to see in here, but as you can see right here, this is where the molding was. We pulled the molding off here, and around over on this side over here so that we could measure the size of the opening. And it's fairly simple to measure the size of the opening. You just come in here with your measuring tape, put it up against here, bring it across here, and it tells you what size the rough opening is. As you can see, it's about 34, and I measured it before. It's 34 3/4. So that's the rough opening left to right. And we measured, of course, from the floor up to the top up here, and we know that the rough opening then is 80 inches high as well. Now, I know it's a little dark because of the light outside, but we're going to get started now. All right, so this is what we're going to do first. We're going to come in here and we're going to remove all of these screws that you see in here that hold the storm door in place. All right, so let's get started on that. Okay, so as you can see, we now have the storm door off. We just have to remove that one piece there. Well, we took it all off on the side, and we have it over there. And the way that you take the storm door itself off is fairly easy. You just come up here, and you see this molding right up here. You just get underneath it with a screwdriver and pry it very gently so that you don't break it. We're going to go to the other side because somebody looks like they painted that in place. So we're going to come up underneath here and we're just going to pry this out just a little bit, just like that. Take it out very gently, especially if you're going to be reusing it, as we are going to. Okay, and then we just take out these screws that you see in here. This one, and this one, and that's the way we did it all the way down here. All right, so next we're going to come in here, we're going to strike this with a utility knife, and we're going to clean this up so that we can actually start to remove the framing here. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our utility knife and we're going to cut down along where the caulking or the silicone is on the outside casing, and we're just going to cut it all the way down and all the way around. You want to make sure you cut it fairly deep so you don't damage the outside material that it's stuck to. So now after we have it cut there, we're going to take out the screws that are actually in here to hold it in place, and we're going to take off this outside brick molding as well as all around the rest of it here as well. All right, so we're going to take out the screws that you see down the bottom here. We're going to take those out, any screws that we see in it, and then we're going to put a flat pry bar inside there, and we're going to pop this off. We're going to strike it all the way around here with the utility knife as well, and we'll take this off too. We are going to remove the bell. We're going to take out this, and we're going to disconnect the two wires that are in the back over here. All right, so let's do that. Okay, next we'll come in here with a small screwdriver. Now we'll remove the bell. So now our bell is disconnected. We'll put this off to the side for now. Up underneath here. And we're going to pry out just very lightly. You don't want to do it too hard. We're going to pry it a little bit. And we're going to make sure that over here that it comes out okay. So we're going to pry it and we're going to cut here at the same time. Just like that. Keep a little bit of pressure on it. We'll be cut all the way down. Okay. Okay. Sure enough, there was another screw right inside there. Right here. Somebody had covered it with plastic wood or silicone or whatever. So that slowed us down a little bit, and then we'll get the rest of this off. Being careful not to damage anything else here. Okay. Okay, next we're going to repeat this procedure here up on the top as well as over on the side right here, making sure that we don't damage any of the siding along here at all. Okay, so now that we have everything taken off, we have the outside molding taken off just around here. It's got a drip cap that's built in. I'm just going to show you what I mean real quick. This drip cap is in here. It's actually tucked underneath the siding here. We're going to see if we can keep this in here, but we'll see how it goes when we try to put the new door in. All right, so next thing we're going to do now is we're going to come in here and we're going to remove the door from the hinges. We're going to take out these pins here, here, and the one on the bottom. And we're going to remove this door, and that'll make it a lot lighter to take out this casing right here. All right, so let's do that. Okay, so now we're inside. We have the door partially closed, and we're going to take these pins right here, and we're going to pry these up. Now, I'm going to have 2 hands to do this because we need to push this pin up and out. You can see it's starting to move already. We need to take out all 3 of these, so we're going to do that and take the door off. We're going to do the same exact thing here. Go underneath the bottom of it like that, pry it up like that, and the same thing here, pry it up just like that, and we'll take these pins out and we'll remove the door. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove these screws right here, because as you can see, these screws go right straight through into this stud right here. And and we're going to take this out of here. We are also going to remove these screws here because chances are they go right straight through and into the stud right over here as well. Then we're going to come down on the bottom and we're going to remove this here to take this off. Next we'll take out these screws in the hinge right here because chances are they're screwed into the stud as well. And we'll do the same thing up here and of course up here. Alright, we may have a couple of screws up top there, but we'll see how that goes. Okay, so now we took our saddle off that was down in here. We took a couple of screws and unscrewed it. As you can see, one of them didn't come out, so we had to persuade it to come out. Next, we're going to come in here and we're going to take out all of this insulation that's in here. We're going to take all this insulation out so we can see where the nails are that are actually holding the casement into the opening itself. All right, so let's clean this all up in here. Take this out. So you can see we took out all of that blown insulation that was in here, and of course we're going to replace it when we do this, when we put the new door jamb back on. But when we took out the blown in insulation, we could find there's a couple of finishing nails in here, this side and this side. Believe it or not, that side and the top, there's no nails in it. So we're going to cut these two nails and we should be ready to have this frame come right out. So I'm going to cut it from the inside and we'll cut those two nails out. And that's it. The frame should be ready to come out now. Okay, so we're just going to pry it out just a little bit now. Now remember, you don't want to pry it and break anything, so just do it very gently. And we should be able to get it to come out. Remember, it's been in there for a heck of a long time. Okay. I think I'm okay so far. Okay, so let's put this off to the side. We're going to come in here, we're going to clean it up a little bit, and then we'll come right back and we'll get this new door in. Okay, so now that we have the door frame out, as you can see, we have a lot of cleaning up to do in here. So we're going to clean this up. We're going to pull these nails out. And once we get this all cleaned up, we'll come back. We'll make sure our rough opening is the exact same size. We are going to have to put in a piece down in the bottom right here because it's actually rotted away. So we're going to have to change this. We're going to put some pressure treated lumber in there, just so you know. All right, so once we get this finished up here and we get that framed out down the bottom, we'll come back and we'll finish this off and get this door in. Okay, so now we have the new piece of wood in down the bottom. We put our level on it to make sure that it's nice and level. Right here, nice and level. All right, so now this is all set. We are going to put a new piece of molding underneath here, just so you know, but we'll do that a little bit later on. Next, we're going to get that tape, and we're going to put some tape over this. It's a waterproof tape that goes on here and on the sides right here to keep any moisture from getting into it. All right, so let's get the tape and we'll get started on that. Okay, so as you can see, we have the rough opening all waterproof now. We put our waterproofing tape on it. You could go all the way to the top if you choose to. I just went halfway because that's probably at the furthest point where we're going to get any kind of water getting into it. We waterproof the base down with. We waterproof the base down on the bottom where the sill is going to sit, and the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to put silicone around on the bottom right here, up on the sides, and we're also going to put it on the back of the door itself. We're going to put the door into the opening, and then we'll continue from there. Okay, so now we got the door in, and we do have a couple of screws in place to hold it while we actually go down here and check to make sure that everything is exactly right. As you can see right here, we're level. Everything is nice and level. We did check our sides as well to make sure we're level on the side here as well. We also took a square such as this, put it in the opening, and make sure that everything is nice and square. And we're going to do that on all four corners of the door itself. Right? Nice and square. Same thing here. Nice and square. All right, so everything looks good there. Next thing we did, we came up underneath the molding right here. We pulled the molding back and we drove the screws in through here, there, and down by the other hinge on the bottom. And then we took our shims and we shimmed it according to get this so that it was actually perfectly level, or plumb, I should say. All right, same thing up on top right here. We put our shims in there, and everything looks like it's perfect now. So now we drove our screws all the way in, and then we came over onto this side over here, and we did the exact same thing up here. We put our shims up in here, and drove a screw in behind the molding there, down on the bottom, and down there as well. All right, and again, we drove them in behind the molding. Right there, you just peel the molding back and get it inside, so that way you don't have any sign of the screws showing through there, and down underneath here, and then down on the bottom right there. All right, so that's all set. This is in. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to cut off any of the shims right here so that it's level with the outside over here, so that way we can put our molding back on. But before we do that, we're going to put insulation inside right here. And the insulation I'm going to use, it's personal preference, of course. I'm going to use the old traditional insulation versus the spray in, because we, as you can see, up top we have a little gap, and down here we have quite a bit. This stud in the wall was actually slightly crooked. All right, so let's continue with that, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is we're going to cut off the excess part of the shims that are sticking out here. Now you can use a utility knife and you can just score it like this. And just snap it off. Or when you have the thicker one, it's a little bit more difficult. So you can also use something like this, called an oscillating saw, and we can get in here like this and we can just cut it off right here as well. So let's do that. Okay, we'll continue down and we'll do the ones on the bottom now. Again, we can use the saw just like this. Let's open the door so we don't damage anything. Okay, last one's on the bottom. We'll do those. Okay, so now you can see we have everything cut off nice and smooth here. So now we're ready to put our trim on. But before we do that, we're going to stuff insulation into these voids right inside here. Instead of using the spray-in insulation, we're going to stick in there the traditional insulation that you used to see in all the houses. So what you do is just take a piece off, and you can use a putty knife, and you can push it inside there. So let me do that. All right, we're going to continue all the way around until we have everything filled in with the insulation. All right, so after the insulation is all put in the way it's supposed to be, next we're going to come up here with our molding, put our molding on here. We pre-cut the molding already to the height that we wanted it, or the angle up the top, I should say, that 45-degree angle. Next, we're going to come down the bottom. We're going to cut these to length. And before I install these, I'm going to take them outside and I'm going to paint them, so that way it's a lot easier to paint once they're on. All right, so that's all set. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to come outside and we're going to silicone and put the storm door back on. All right, so let me get the storm door on. I'll silicone it and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so we got everything on. We siliconed everything around the new door where it's installed right here. We made sure we have a nice watertight seal all the way along the bottom and up the sides. Our storm door is on. All right, so that's it. We're all done. Okay, that's it. This job is done and we're on to the next one. Now, I will tell you this. One thing I did do, which I did not film, is when I put that waterproofing membrane, remember I put it halfway up and then all the way down around the bottom sill and up the other side. Before I put this door in place, I did continue the waterproofing around the entire door, just so you know. You don't have to, but it's just something that I decided to go ahead and do, and I should have filmed it and showed you, but I didn't. But that's what I did, just so you know. All right, make sure you have an assistant give you a hand lifting that door into place. It's not light, it's actually fairly heavy, especially when you're trying to get it into the opening and center it in there. The main thing is, once you get the door into the opening, as I told you before, make sure it's level, plumb, and square. It's very important. Otherwise, when you do get it into position, it's going to be very difficult to try to adjust it. Now, as you can see with this door here, we had a significant problem because the one stud on the hinge side over there was actually fairly crooked. You know, that's just the way the houses were built years ago, and there's nothing you can do about it. So that's why you need to shim it according to the door once it's into the opening itself. And if the stud is a little crooked, you just add a couple of more shims. Main thing is you make sure you get a long enough screw to go through the jamb of the door, through the shims, and into the studs next to where the door is going in place. But that's it. This job is done, and we're on to the next one. I will put a link someplace in this video here that you can go and you can take a look at me installing the lock, the upper lock. The lower lock, I put it on before I realized I should have filmed it for you. But you know what? I have a video of me installing locks on another job, so I'll put a link for the installation of the regular traditional lock, and then I'll put this the link in here as well for the installation of the deadbolt itself. All right, so enough talking. Let's get that deadbolt on. Let's finish this job up, and we'll be all done. All right, as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Hi, and welcome to another video by Get It Done Home Repairs. Today's project is we're going to be replacing this door right here with a new one. Now, we did get a pre-hung door, so which means pre-hung means it comes with the casing as well. It comes with the casing and it comes with the brick mold on the outside. The brick mold is that molding that you see around the outside of the door itself. So we're going to change that all in one shot because, as I said, this is a much older door and it is kind of drafty in the wintertime. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this storm door off, and the way we do that is we just unscrew unscrew all of the screws along here and down on the lock that holds the door open, and we're going to remove it and we'll set that aside. Hopefully we can reuse it, but we'll see how that goes. All right, let me bring you in and I'm going to show you how you can tell what size door you need, so that way you don't take the door out only to find out that it won't fit. All right, so let me bring you in there and I'm going to show you how to measure a door.